So growth hacks. Okay, so here's one thing I've learned is really just this idea of the audience journey. Like, how does someone become a listener? And it's pretty obvious to me that most people are consuming short form content. And when they see enough of that, like I mentioned before, like 7 touches from a brand, they might have watched 7 short form videos. They go, oh, maybe I'll watch a medium. And by short, I mean 30 to 60 seconds. Medium clip, 5 to 8 minutes. And then they quite like the medium clip, which is, from a proper long form conversation of some form. I'm going to go and listen to the long form. And then it's about converting them to regular long form listeners. And that being the goal of a podcast like what I'm creating. And so the lesson here is like that's the customer journey or the audience journey, because I'm not a customer per se, because there's no exchange of cash involved at this stage. But this is why the syndication or the splicing up of long form podcast content is so important, because it's how you drive audience members to your long form content. And that's just a cool insight to have picked up, and something I really want to flesh out is like, how do you grow this thing? It's like, right, well, you've got like a top of funnel, which is all your short form content, and you want to pull them through to medium form, and then you want to pull them through long form, and then you want to make them a regular long form list, and you've got to keep them there. And then you've got to have newsletters, and you've got to have all this other different value you can provide. Paid community, like I just touched on. Next lesson. And this is kind of what I mentioned just before about content syndication. So the lesson is, and I'll mention this later, but as a podcast and as a small team, we've built in 9 months a workflow, which is essentially a competency. That we know how to host, record, and then publish long form conversations that we can create medium form clips from, medium form clips, short form clips. And it's a way for me to scale my time. So I could spend 2 hours a week recording the call and whatever other time it takes to get someone on that call. And once I've clicked share the episode with my team, I don't have to touch it, because that's how I've got it set up. And it's something I've actively invested into, is this content syndication process. And that's where Mike and Pat, they've improved in 9 months. It's great. Like, what we were putting out as short form clips 9 months ago is now so much better. Like, the B-roll footage is better, the imagery is better, the in terms of graphics and the music and stuff, and it's clearly improving because we're getting more attention from it, more views on the short form. Next up, what gets measured gets managed. Wow. I mean, that's a really simple business phrase you might have heard, but I've been doing it quarterly. As I mentioned, I've hit 250k views of the video I've posted on all platforms since launch, but maybe I should have been doing it weekly or even daily. I don't know what the right answer is, but the point is you can get, when you put this content out, what comes back is essentially feedback from the market. Is it good? Is it not good? Did it go viral? Did it not go viral? Now, of course, in some ways, there's a discussion to be had about, like, what's the purpose for even posting in the first place? Do you even want to go viral? But what I'm getting at is, like, unless you're looking at the data, you can't see how well your content's doing. And if you can't see how well it's doing, you don't know what's done well and what didn't do well. We'll make more of the stuff that worked well and don't make more of the stuff that didn't work well. And so it's basically a way of iterating publicly. Next up, clickbait works. Like, it really does work. Think of a YouTube video, someone like screaming that catches people's attention, or big, like, graphic, and then a title. It's like, how to get rich in 5 minutes or something that's clearly not possible, but people click on that stuff, right? If you don't deliver value when you've used a tactic like that, the audience feel cheated and they won't come back. Now, in general, because of someone who has adopted a Bitcoin standard, because of someone who values low time preference behavior, someone who's looking at creating long-term capital, I'm not really interested in clickbait. However, being entrepreneurial and I like trying new things, like, it's crazy not to try the YouTube game when you're creating content like this. Next up. So Alex Hormozi has, just flown into the world of content over the last couple of years, and he's got a bunch of books that you can go and read, and he has this really interesting framework: hook, retain, reward. And to me, this has actually been the most helpful framework to think through when it's come to particularly the solo episodes I create. And well, shout out to Alex. Maybe I'll meet him one day. That is a really cool process to go through for all content you ever make, and I highly recommend it. So next lesson. In the long form, I don't do any preamble. I just get straight into it. Like there's a short audio tag, which we created, the rippling of a flag, which we really liked. And boom, the conversation starts. There's no intro, there's no music, there's no like chopped up audio, nothing. In my opinion, that's what people are there for, right? They want the conversation. They don't want the same pre-recorded intro and then a 7-minute long waffling on about some advert for a product that person might have never used. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's all bullshit. Get rid of that. Get rid of the preamble. Next up, people have loved not having ads, and it's just raw signal, right? Lesson 8. So TikTok. So we tried this and we got absolutely like a full nothing burger. And we were posting a bunch of videos and no views. Like, TikTok, what the hell? How are we not getting a single view? And I stopped and I was complaining about it online a couple of months later. And shout out to Timothy, who runs the Free Cities podcast. He was like, mate, you got to start TikTok again because we're getting a bit of traction. And so we went back and we actually then had a whole catalog of short form content that we could use. And we created a new handle and we started posting more regularly on a specific schedule. And boom, in the last couple of months, we got 10,000 views or something from TikTok. So it's not game changer yet, but it's important because we'll build on that. As I mentioned, the audience compounds. Next up, this is kind of part of the hook, but it is a specific lesson. It's like the title is incredibly important. And shout out to Mike. He's a bit of a guru here. He loves thinking through like how to get people to click on the content, how to deliver the most value in like that, because there's a certain amount of characters. You don't really want to have a long title if you can. There's a whole thought process behind it. But really it's about like, how do you tell someone exactly what they're going to get if they spend time listening to your content? Crucial lesson. Finally, I've learned that I want to write. Now, I haven't actioned this yet. I previously wrote a newsletter a couple of years back, and I've had other stabs at it on different occasions. And I really enjoy telling stories and writing them. And I haven't yet done this, but I will. It's something like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just ideas to how to grow. But newsletter is one, doing more Instagram stories is another. And finally, we've done some work around posting all of my episodes on my website with transcripts, and there's an SEO angle to that as well. That's probably a whole nother episode in itself. It's like, okay, Jake, what are some of the different growth options from here?